A lot of you are familiar with Maxime's work with organic samples and with some of the things he's done with Orchestral Tools. And this is a real exciting, new venture that he's started, launching a new company, Streamtech Music, as well as this premier instrument, ICONIC Violin. Here we go. Are you ready? Let's go on a joyful journey with Maxime Luft. I want everybody to welcome Maxime Luft to PraiseTracks.com and Joyful Journeys. And good to have you, Maxime.
Thanks to you. I mean, it's definitely an honor to be invited. I looked like many of your other shows, really, and it's when you start them here over in Europe, it's cool. It tends to be quite late, like 9 p.m. But also during the making of ICONIC Violin, sometimes I watched your live stream. Sometimes I also commented and you reacted to it. I was super happy about it. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here. And I'm glad people seem to be interested in ICONIC Violin. It's as you said before, this is a sort of new endeavor for me and a very personal project.
Let's just kind of talk about your journey. Let's just go back to how this all started for you. I mean, even before sampling, how were you introduced to music? How has music been a part of your life?
Sure. I've had really I was very lucky to play the piano from a quite young age, starting at 5, and since then I was whether classically trained, and I fell in love with Chopin and all the romantic era in a way, and but it was always alternating between this and sports, and I had quite a lot of different things where I had some fun with, and music was a big part of it. With time, and at school I was I have to do something, so later in life, and I was I was very interested in politics, also in sports, and also in music, and I was just music had this sort of magic that never really disappears, and yes, so starting from there, I was just I was more and more interested in music production with with computers. Basically, I was very astonished by what sample libraries can enable people to do in their own studios, and it's still so this sort of magical moment. I still want to feel it every time when I play my libraries, but also with any other libraries. I'm really passionate about them, and so yeah, there's this sort of really inherent magic there. And so then I moved to Germany. I grew up in France, and my first city after going away from my hometown was in Germany, in Karlsruhe, and there they have this quite they offer there's a university where they offer this music informatics bachelor degree, and I was that's super interesting. And from there I started composing a lot, and film music, trailer music. I worked with some trailer music labels and some production music labels. And at some point, at the university, I had the big chance of meeting some of my good friends and musicians, and amongst others, Katja, who sung for Solar Opera and Eternal Vocals, and it was just a way to kind of merge my sort of passionate way of dealing with music and everything and technology, and merging it into a sort of common project with her, and so that's kind of the way I went into sampling, because I was really passionate about tweaking the libraries and so on that I was working with. But I was I could try, in a very humble way, I could try to do something on my own, and from there quite a lot of hours went into this endeavor, and so here we are, and now I just released ICONIC VIOLIN, and but like making music and going to concerts is still, and also mixing and mastering music is still something that I still do, and I'm just really passionate about like having many different working in the realm of music. I'm really passionate about this, and for me, sampling is a way to deal with this topic. But not the
What was your very first sampled instrument? I mean, what was the very first thing that you sampled?
Well, the very first thing, I think it was like a sort of kitchen kind of thing, that made some nice noise. It was like from a sort of like very nice metal, and it's like, it's ringing out nicely, and I could just like sample it, and and then you just start to see the magic that there's there, that you capture a sort of moment, and you drag and drop it into Kontakt very easily, and then you're like, wow, I can like store the library, and 1 week later I have completely forgotten to like having recorded this, because it goes so fast, but then it pushes you back into this moment, and and then like sampling has this magic of when you're able to have like different microphone positions, you can go back in time but shape the sound in a way, so you're you're making it alive. So this is something that I truly think is still something magical, like for any library, when you can like change the perspective and so on. Yeah.
So it started with organic samples. I guess that was your first sampling company. You did the solo opera, and then the pianos. I think you've got some pianos, or they're not necessarily traditional piano libraries in the sense that you would think.
I mean, like the thing is, I recorded both a solo opera and the piano. It's just only like a staccato piano library. It's a very percussive, and it's by no means a deep sample piano, but it had like a really nice character to it. It's a Bösendorfer, and it was used by many classical music students who all liked the tone of it, and
That's cool.
And we did it like in parallel with the solo opera recordings, because I didn't have much time to do something else besides the solo opera project. So I was like, it's just gonna be a staccato library. I don't have like time to record sustains. So so that's the way I started also like sampling something that is a bit more, the range is much. It's like with the voice, you have to be very careful, but it's a kind of limited range. But with the piano, you cannot have like the same care with it. I mean, like there are so many notes and so many dynamic layers. You have to have some speed, because if you're spending like a whole month recording every note because you're taking care of each note, like we did during the solo opera recordings, then you're just gonna get mad, because the microphones have to stay at the same place every time and so on. So
nothing can move. It's like you've got to freeze that setup, because if you move a microphone just a little bit, then it throws everything is so interconnected, it throws everything off. Let's see if we can take a look at ICONIC VIOLIN, just kind of play through it. And as we play through it, you can talk about some of the characteristics of it. So first of all, just got to say the interface is just so well done. I guess there's a company called Voger Designs that helped you with that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I had like a draft which, had all the structure, all the main ideas. And I was like, it's kind of finished now.
Yeah.
But making it look, in a nice way is something that I'm totally incapable of. So I reached out to them, because they clearly are for me the best. They also had like some additional ideas. It was like back and forth. We ended up with this interface, and I must say I'm really, really proud of how it came out in the end, because it's really I don't like when technology goes into the creative in the middle of the way of the creative process. I like when technology helps you going even faster with your ideas, and I think this interface basically makes it possible to go very fast from one point to another, and it's kind of easy to understand. I mean, like it's thought to be intuitive and foremost it's designed from a musician's point of view, because I like making music. I'm not so much of a good programmer or designer or so on, but I'm much more someone who enjoys making music, and I like when things go fast and you have like good sounds right at your fingertips.
Okay, let's just jump into the legato. This controls vibrato, correct? The depth of vibrato.
That's it. Yeah,
okay, so we've got the dynamic, and then we've got the vibrato. Okay, it's still tied into CC expression too. Okay, I'm going to put it here. There we go. So it still responds to CC11 expression, and then the dynamic on CC1, and then you can assign the vibrato. And this is what I love too, is that it responds to your velocity. So you go to the advanced, and you have the different types of legato that are switched with velocity. I think that is a fantastic performance. So you can play it soft, and you get that feedback on the GUI as well. There you go. You play it soft and you get that beautiful portamento. And watch that center display. When you go slow, it goes slow. And then when you go fast, it's adaptive. I think that is really beautiful. And it's intuitive, like what you said. That's lovely. That's lovely. And then we can turn the legato off and have just the sustains, which is nice. That's beautiful. Wow. So, okay, MIDI Wizard, are the double stops real? Oh, well, the double stops, I'm doing them right here, I guess. Because I've got the legato turned off. So, yeah, so everything, go ahead. Do you have any thoughts? I'm just kind of getting lost in the sound.
Yeah, I mean, like about the double stops. No, it's like every note is like individually sampled, and like with the sustains, you have like four different attacks for the vibrato samples and 3 different attacks for the non-vibrato samples. So this makes it like kind of we try to have it like as versatile as possible, so you can kind of emulate some of those, double stops, but also like when you like what I like to do is like when you press really hard on the keyboard, you have like the sort of like nearly as like a sort of staccato sound, but then that then just goes like into a regular sustain. But we didn't program anything like with a fake a staccato. There's the overlay, for instance. But it was really important, like just to have like how the player goes into the notes. I think this is something you cannot kind of replicate or just like program in a way. So yeah, this is why we have like these different attacks and dynamic layers. So yeah, even like using the sustains. I mean, I personally like using the sustains with the legato mode on the Moss, because it's it's then monophonic, and you kind of have these how to say sort of like natural way for player to play, but playing like with chords, thanks to these attacks and dynamic layers, makes it versatile enough. And this is for sure like a concept that I'm really looking forward to applying to other instruments, and also like maybe like grouped instruments. I think that like when you have for brass ensembles, I think this can be like really great.
Yeah, Steph had mentioned something about carrying this forward into like cello or viola or bass. I think that would be great.
I should try to find some people who are kind of like-minded and who would join me to do this, because like, to be honest, like the violin was quite a task, to be honest, but I don't regret it. I mean, it was a very personal project, so I put like all my heart into it. I really have to say it, and so it kind of reflects the way I like sample libraries to behave. But for sure, when you have like so many articulations and so many things to do, and just the programming the engine, I'm by no means a good programmer, so it was also something that I'm kind of happy now that this engine will serve future projects as well. So for sure the future ones are not going to take this long to make.
Yeah, I think you've built a very solid foundation, and then you can just go and build more on top of that. And so you don't have to rebuild the wheel every time.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, we're talking about the intuitiveness of this, that it responds to how you play, that you don't have to worry too much about key switching and going through all of that. You just play, and it just and just look at that feeling that. And keyboard players are notorious for just making very unrealistic. It's like the violin players and stuff going, "Oh my gosh, I could never," but it's those sounds that inspire. It just pulls things right out of you. This is just the legato patch, folks. I mean, yeah, this is just... Okay, and we've got, you've got 6 mic positions. We've got the spot mics and the outriggers on right now. And let's just see what we've got. I don't even think... now, is there reverb in... Yeah, okay, yeah, we don't even have reverb on. But we have the release tails, and this is something that I really found fascinating. So you hear the room sound in those release samples, in the release tails, and then you can go in and turn those off. So you can just make it very dry. Listen to that. Listen how... just super dry. A lot of times you'll have the room baked into the instruments so much that it makes it hard to use it with other instruments. But yeah, you just really, that's a very great option to have. So this is with the release tails off, and let's turn them all the way back on. And you hear that beautiful decay of that the church that you recorded this in. That beautiful decay. But you can have it, or you can turn it off and use the reverb built in. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say about the legato before we kind of check out a couple more articulations?
Except the fact that I mean, you just showed like the function with the release tails being able to make it like sound very dry, and maybe it might be a good transition to go to the other articulations, because it's also something that I did for the short notes. And obviously you have to kind of program it in a different way, because like for the release tails, you just say, okay, no release tails. Okay, there's no release tail samples, that's it. But like for the staccatos and pizzicatos, you just have to see like how long does a note last, because it's a couple of 100 milliseconds, and then you have to shut the sound down, really. Yeah. And so like the released tail slider, you can also bring it way back down to 0%, and then the staccatissимos are gonna sound like they've been recorded in a small studio vocal booth maybe, and
wow.
So okay. You can really play with the sound this way as well.
Let's try that. So I've got the spicatissimo with the release tails on, and you've got some beautiful round robins. Okay, now let's turn the release tails off. And oh my goodness, yeah. And then you can just split the difference. And again, just having the feedback about the different layers. Now let's go to the staccato. I don't know. Yeah, wow. Let's see. Okay, I wanted to go down to this F here, and we can actually do that with we can actually extend the range just a little bit. Which I think is great, because sometimes you're constrained, a little bit, and we can actually go up. Wow. Yeah, there's just something, there's some of this on there. It's just like, I guess you say, well, it's two things. It's passion and magic, and heart. Yeah, let's turn the release tails off some more. My Jane Austen is showing. Wow. Oh, man. Let's go to spiccato and do this. July 13th, say boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Christmas in July. Wow. Bravo. I mean, yeah, bravo. I don't play a whole lot before we go on live stream. I do enough just to kind of get a flavor, but this is just beautiful.
You're way too kind. I mean, like it's a Vodja design who made a brilliant design. It's the violin player who played beautifully, and it's such of course, like the church builders who did like all these beautiful acoustics. And I'm just glad being able to bring all these talents in a way together. And then when everyone is so talented, and you're just like, okay, I'm just bringing it all together. I'm not doing much there. It's just, trying to find a few, some good combinations, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it takes somebody that can do that, that can bring people together, that can bring a vision, so to speak, together. It's just like our bodies, well, my pinky sometimes doesn't feel very important, but man, I sure would miss it if it wasn't there. And yeah, so we all need each other. I think that's the beauty of music and community. And when you are involved in putting something like that together, I think most of us that are sitting in our studios and behind our keyboards, and we're just playing these beautiful sounds. It's like being able to talk to the developers, to Maxime, to you, and to say, there are people behind the code. There are so many individuals involved in this. I know that we sit through. I like sitting through the movie credits, and you watch those credits scroll up, and then you see maybe one or two names, and then all of a sudden, boom! You see hundreds of names coming up, just to do the lighting on some of the shots. It's like, oh my gosh. So it takes all of us working together in our gift to create something beautiful. I guess I love having these types of opportunities to have you and other developers on, just so people, the viewers and you all of you could understand that there is so much more that happens beyond what you're hearing, and to give an opportunity to show our appreciation to you for that. So, okay. So David Siddell, he said, if you could sample any instrument in the world, what would it be?
Well, I guess something that I haven't sampled yet then. Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. Because I like, thinking in terms of instrument, but like also textures. I think one instrument, like for example, a violin, can play in so many different styles, and it might be something totally different basically when you record it from this or that point of view. But it's very basic, but I think some sort of like old, super good sounding Steinway in a beautiful church.
Oh,
that
wow.
would be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm a piano player. It's and there's no legato involved, so that's a big advantage as well. Because legato, it's if it would be so, it's always something you have to make compromises with, because it's kind of so, you're trying to basically cover all the different combinations that are possible between the notes, and it's obviously so much that you have to kind of have one approach and be very radical with it, but you cannot capture everything. And I think like with pianos, it's just like it's really a matter of also of the player, but like I think much more of dynamic layers and the room you record it, and with the microphones, and there you can be like a bit more subtle with the way you try to make a virtual piano. So this is something that I just enjoy a lot, and I would really like to make this. This is a good idea. Why not doing this like next year, maybe as a new Streamtech music release?
That would be cool. Okay, so Justin, number of dynamic layers. You know, we love to talk about dynamic layers and stuff. So 5 in the spicatissimo. Yeah. So just briefly hit that, like about the dynamic layers and under the hood.
Yeah. So it's like 5 for the most basic articulations. So sustain, spicatissimo, spiccato, staccato as well, and yeah. So that's it for the dynamic layers. And like for the pizzicatos, for instance, we have like 3 different dynamic layers plus a 4 plus I mean like 3 that are regular pizzicatos, and then we have the loudest dynamic layer. It's Bartok pizzicato.
Wow.
So it makes it up to 4. And and for other articulations, like for the flautandos and sul tasto, there it's like just 1 dynamic layer, because it's supposed to be very quiet.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we are just really trying to focus on a single dynamic layer, and also to avoid like phasing issues, and
Okay.
and so the player can also really try to focus on one sound and try to be as consistent as possible. So that's kind of the way we did it. And for all the swells and the pre-recorded dynamics, the crescendos, swells, and sforzandos, it's just 1 dynamic layer as well there, because you're supposed, like the sound goes, obviously these are recorded dynamics, so they go naturally from very soft to very loud, and then for the swells they come back to soft. So it's something where it's quite difficult to make like
Right.
the different dynamic layers. We have different lengths for those ones, so that's a way to kind of being flexible with them. And with the mod wheel, you can control the overall volume of those pre-recorded dynamics. So it's not as if it would be totally static. You can also like for the flautandos and so on, for the single dynamic layers, you can always use the mod wheel to shape the volume even more as you like.
Okay, so let's check out some of the pizzicatos. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure.
I think it's with the release tail at 0 still, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's go back to advanced, and yeah, I've got the release tails about. Yeah, there we go. And beautiful decay. I mean, I guess I'm listen to that softest. Just very delicate, very delicate. Let's just get the Bartok. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's that. You hear that snap? Yeah, that bam, that slap. So let's just see. Dun, 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 dun. And my friend Reed Roosevelt is in the house. Good to see Reed. Let's see. Okay, so do the swells and crescendo sync to tempo, or is it just whatever they are?
No, they are not synced to tempo, but it's definitely something we could make like for an update if people request it. Yeah, I think they have been recorded at which tempo. I think it's a tempo that is really that suits many styles, and having it like with both short and long versions really helps. Like if you want to just like to have it like in rather fast or slow pieces. So yeah, if people want it like to be exactly like mapped to the tempo,
Yeah.
why not requesting it? And we could eventually make an update. Yeah.
So this is the long swell, and then I think the key switches, like what you said, you can adapt to whatever the mood is and be able to kind of go in and out. So this is the short swell. So it kind of goes up and then back down a little bit. And then the long swell. I don't know, the sound that you captured is just so, I don't know, it's just so warm. There's a warmth, and I don't know, it's like some violins come across, you know, it's like there's none of that. There's no it's like it's just like it's just so velvety and it's like you don't have to do anything to it. It's just like it's just there. And I'm gonna go ahead and switch the tree mic on, because we were using the outriggers, and that'll kind of give us an interesting. So these knobs are, so they're panning over the microphone positions. We've got panning locations, and Owen Bolig. Maxime, he is a fabulous Kontakt instrument programmer, and so he's got a little nerdy question. Did you apply modulator tables connecting velocity to volume to transition between the dynamic layers?
The short answer is no. It's I mean like the it's related to velocity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like velocity, basically, it's for the legatos, for instance. The more the harder you hit a key, the more it will push the sample start of a legato sample. So you will basically have less and less of the transition. So the note will be the more and more direct. And cool. So it doesn't really, so it's not really connected to the volume. It's much more like to the like for the legatos. It's much more like in terms of like sample start placement, and like for other articulations, for the sustains, for the first note, the velocity controls the attack. So
cool.
Yeah.
And SORDINO has got to be one of my favorite articulations. So I've got the tree mic on, and let's just take a look at that. And I say look, but it's like we see with our ears. We see with our ears. When I hear a sound, it just paints an entire landscape of. I'm telling you, I don't know. It's just hard to put into words. It's hard to put into words what you're hearing. And let's see. And we've got. So does the vibrato affect the SORDINO?
The vibrato does only affect like for the sustains and marcatos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other ones are a sort of, and this makes the library kind of the way it sounds like it's never totally vibrato nor totally non-vibrato. Like if you listen, for instance, like for the Swells, like we really took our time having the exact amount of non-vibrato at the start, and then slowly going into vibrato, and then dialing back to non-vibrato. So
Wow.
this is why every patch, we could have sampled each articulation with let's say 3 vibrato layers, but then the Swells would have been you would have to manually go back from non-vibrato to vibrato to strong vibrato, and then go back to non-vib, for instance. But my approach is I like having good samples right at your fingertips, and you don't have to do much basically. So so this is why the sustains let you the most control over the sound with different dynamic layers, vibrato layers, and attacks. So soft, regular, accentuated, and very soft. Also, I forgot. And but like for the other articulations, you have less control, but the sound is much more colored in a way. And you know, you just have like to press the key. You can obviously control the dynamics, but then you have a bit less freedom to shape the sound because it's supposed to sound as is.
Well, you know, you use the term organic quite a bit, and I think that kind of speaks to your approach, that you're just not you know, cookie cutting, you know, articulations. Like, you know, things have got, you know, they've got different personalities for different things. Okay, so David, I saw this, and I've got this sitting here. I've got this Shimmer Verb sitting here. So what we'll do, I'm just going to put.
Did I tell you about the tip, Simon, about the Valhalla Shimmer tip?
Well, I think you mentioned Soothe, and I don't have Soothe, but I've got the Valhalla Shimmer Verb. So what is there a preset that you like on Shimmer Verb that you use?
Concert Hall.
Okay, let's see if we've got
50%.
Oh wow. Okay. So this is the Shimmer Verb with
maybe 50% is too much, but we will see. I mean, you know, it's about creating. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. It's so tender and sweet. Wow.
You could try to turn on the legato for the concertinos, maybe.
Oh.
Because we emulated a concertino legato as well for those ones.
Ooh.
But I don't know how it's.
Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Do you have portamento on the concertino or no?
Yeah, but you have to press the key really soft, and I know my keyboard can play very. I mean, it's easier to trigger the velocities, but you can upper the portamento velocity. Yeah.
There we go. Wow. And so can you change the velocity curve? And I don't think you can change a global velocity curve. Wow.
What you can do maybe is to go into Kontakt, and then you have like these multi-scripts, I guess they are called. When you click like on the upper right KSP button, not there. You have to go back to this full view of Kontakt, and then there's this little KSP button. Yeah. And then normally you can have like you have a, yeah, if you click on it, yeah, you have like preset. You click on it and maybe on the factory and then transform, and I think like there's some MIDI kind of tweaking thing. Change
Yeah,
velocity.
change velocity. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And then we can adjust. Yeah, so that there we can adjust the global. Yeah, so there you can adjust the global curve.
Yeah, that's a hack.
Yeah, in the KSP setting there. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's go back out of that. Yeah, there's so many things hiding inside a Kontakt. Yeah, it's just it is just so crazy.
Yeah, but make sure maybe like to bypass it if you don't want it to be active still. You re-click on it and you click on bypass, for instance. Yeah, and then you can because otherwise if it still keep being active.
Yeah.
And I know you're surely familiar with your keyboard enough.
Yeah, this is this Casio has got a little it's got a nice soft touch to it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and reload the main, so we can just make sure we got everything just kind of back to square one again. So let's see. Okay, there we go. Let's check out the FLAUTANDO, and that's like flute, almost like flute-like. Very soft. Now let's see. Let's turn on legato for. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so we've got legato for FLAUTANDO and TASTO. And we're still using the outriggers, and you've got some surround mics as well. Let's just turn those on. Ooh, man. And you can hear the room. Let's turn those down just a little bit. And turn the legato back on. And then we can turn those release tails off. I think that is a fantastic, so we can adjust that room decay, because there's quite a bit there when we have the surrounds on. Beautiful. And let's see, let's check out the harmonics. Just very fragile and delicate. Wow. Wow. And the tremolo sopran. Oh, wow. And having these different mic positions really help you to sort of fine tune the sound, like spot 2. Wow, really amazing. Okay. Oh, one of the fun things that I found is on the MARCATO, articulation is really fun because it goes between kind of like a short and a sustain, which is kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah. Yeah. Like while you're drinking, I can maybe explain it a little bit. It's just because I tend to enjoy sample libraries in general. Not from Orchestral Tools, obviously, but also like from other developers as well. And I very much like this concept of, just bypassing key switches totally and having like just some sorts of like performance patches, even if you maybe are not able to go as deeply into the detail of how it behaves. But, I was like, we can have both. We can have like all our articulations, articulate with like 21 here, but also like a performance patch. Some companies make only performance patches. That's great. And they have their uses, and that's really fantastic. But I was like, I'm just going to try to implement it into the library as well. And so basically what it does, it triggers automatically between spicatissimo and spiccato samples as well as sustains. And you can also play legatos with them. And it's really a patch designed to be where you could play with nothing but, with the mod wheel. And so I really like using it without legato mode because you can really make like some fast chords and then like maintain some sustains and then play with the mod wheel and go like very quiet. Yeah, so it's really designed to be a fun patch.
Yeah, having the mod wheel to be able to do dynamics as well as velocity, it gives you the best of both worlds. So okay, so we're not, right now we're not, it is all with the mod wheel here. See, like right there, you go from those shorts. It's all in there. Wow.
Yeah, great playing. I mean, like, the library is worth nothing if you cannot play well, and obviously you do. So
wow.
That's great.
Well, we talked about this. It just kind of plays you. it kind of gets under your skin, you know.
Yeah.
And to have the flexibility, of having those things baked in, so you don't have to worry about key switches. So you like what you say, the technology doesn't get in the way of the playing, or it doesn't get in between the musician and the instrument, because the musician can connect with the instrument and bring out their own heart and their own performance, you know. So you hand them this beautiful instrument, and they bring to it. You give them the tools that they can bring to it what's inside of them. Yeah. So give us some of your final thoughts about this instrument, and where you think the future is heading for Maxime.
Sure. I mean, like, I'm first of all, I'm very happy to see that people enjoy the library. Also, those who have already bought and downloaded it. I mean, because it's always a thing, you know, like marketing stuff and so on. And people are, and I totally understand. You're always like a bit, you know, kind of cautious. Yeah, maybe they are trying to hide this and that. But, you know, with ICONIC Violin, I really tried to have like a fun library with good sounds straight out of the box. And just, you know, that's also kind of why I did this library. I was like, you know, I want to bring something new that corresponds to what I like to hear. And yeah, so I'm very glad. I think I picked up the right violin player, who is a fantastic player. I like her a lot, and I can't thank her enough for this project. She was very patient, and you know, she knows what we had to do to get to this result. And so I'm very kind of very much enjoying to see that people are responding quite in a quite positive way to it, because it's a very personal project. It's not supposed to be, let's say, a perfect representation of a virtual violin. By no means. It's something that I put a lot of my own vision of it into the library, into my approach, into how I programmed it. You know, it's designed to be very intuitive and to have like good sound straight out of the box. It's definitely not a sample modeling library, to be honest. You know, it's not the kind of library where you have to shape the performance so as it sounds good. It's supposed more to be something that really just you hear a performance, and then you're basically having like some organic sounds that flow from one note to another, and you maybe have less control, but you have, you know, that's what you said earlier. You're being kind of, you know, the library moves you in a way, and you can interact with it. So I like this idea of you know, like a sort of duet, I guess. And
it is. Yeah,
I think it's once on VI Control on this Composers Forum, someone once said that he wanted another library like the Majestic one, where you have like built-in performances, and it was like, you know, it's a sample library. It's just samples. It's not very, very much performances. But then I really thought a lot about what he was actually meaning with it. And I think it's really the way of recording samples in a way that lets the musicians really speak. And not being like totally under strict control of how they have to play, but more trusting them in the fact that they will play it right.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you can play some melodies where the notes are alive, basically. So yeah, thank you very much for having me here and saying a few words about ICONIC Violin.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us. And speaking of Majestic Horn, that's a fantastic instrument. And if you guys don't have Majestic Horn, that's something that you need to pick up. It's very, very economical and full of, you know, the same heart, you know. So pick that up as well. So this is just a beautiful beginning for your journey, I guess, this new chapter. And we cheer you on. We wish you all the best. And thank you so much for being here today and sharing your heart with us. And I hope you come back for the next entry in the ICONIC series.
There will be.
ICONIC cello, maybe, or is that? Yeah. So Majestic Horns, €2. So that's just like a no-brainer. And Reed is a huge fan of solo opera. So yeah, that's definitely a pickup as well. So yeah, you've got a lot of fans, and I'm a big fan, and I so appreciate you.
I don't deserve it, but I appreciate it a lot. It's very encouraging. I mean, especially since, like this whole new chapter, like starting Streamtech music is kind of something that honestly is risky for me, because, I'm putting a lot of time, a lot of efforts into this, and I'm just so glad that people do recognize some of what I did, like for projects like Majestic Horn and Solo Opera in this new library, which is ICONIC Violin. So I try to to keep doing things the way I think they sound good. And again, I already recorded a few other libraries. They need to be worked on too. And if I could be a guest for these ones,
absolutely,
that would be a pleasure as well.
Yeah, you have an open invitation, my friend. So so until
that's great.
Until we meet again. Godspeed and blessings on you and your endeavors, and I cannot wait to see you on the next joyful journey.